Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we take a look at a very unique Springbank 9-year-old. Dustin, this one comes from our good friend Quaker Oats. This Springbank 9-year-old has had an interesting maturation. 4 years in refill bourbon, but 5 years in Gaja Barolo casks. I'm not sure that's spelled G-A-G or J-A-B-A-R-O-L-O. Gaja Barolo?
Ganja?
Barolo? Maybe, I don't know.
Barolo, I'm pretty confident on. Also note it's fresh Barolo, so first fill essentially. Well, I believe actually it's not just first fill. That's Springbank's way of saying it's a wet barrel.
Dustin, they've done some great ones in the past. That's another fun one to get into. Appreciate the sample sent from one of our good friends.
I did have a 9-year Hazelburn aged in Barolo, so I'm not completely, but
Dustin, what can you tell us about Barolo?
it's a wine. Obviously, it's a white wine, Mike, because look at the color.
Okay.
I actually thought the Hazelburn was darker, so I was actually kind of expecting a little more color here.
Ooh, it comes off darker, though.
It smells a lot like that Hazelburn. So the Hazelburn was a pretty big release, so a lot of you guys probably had that one. And definitely I get the same wine note for sure.
I'm getting a much darker wine note. This comes off kind of a sweeter version of standard sherry, like Oloroso sherry. Not quite as chocolatey, but...
Yeah, good bit of like earthiness, barley husk, a little bit of peat coming through.
It is quickly becoming golden. Golden, a little bit of citrus now, too.
Yeah, the classic Springbank notes are coming through there on the malt.
Mm-hmm. The cask maturation was kind of interesting and looked a little different initially, but man, Springbank's one of those dense malts that usually doesn't take you long to pick it up.
This is coming off extra gasoline forward for me today, Mike. Not sure if that's just my second whiskey or what, but it's very gasoline forward, which I get occasionally on Springbank. It's not a unique note.
For sure. Do we know what the ABV on this is?
It should be on there.
I didn't see anything as far as ABV.
I'm pretty confident it's cask strength, but not a high one. I just don't know.
I tell you what, Dustin, like I always say, there are citrus notes in here, and citrus notes get prickly, and they tend to give me off a feeling of a higher ABV sometimes.
That's true.
And that's definitely happening, especially in younger whiskeys.
There's a density here, though, that seems... I would guess this is 52, 54, just on the nose.
Yeah, this is bordering on sort of I wouldn't call it like a lime, but like a lime loaf or sort of a lemon loaf. Not quite what Kalila sometimes gives you, but there's a heftiness to the smoke.
I get some nice, just like lemon drops, man.
Yeah, citrus forward really big time now.
See, for me, instead of getting like a lime, I'm getting more of like a mineral note with that lemon drop, which I kind of get on Lafroig sometimes, and that's where sometimes Lafroig for me, I'm not sure if it's lime or if I'm just getting that like fresh, by the pond where there's some, some stuff growing on some rocks. That's kind of that note, which by the way, I love that note. It's like one of my favorite notes on Isla whiskey.
All right, Dustin, you've convinced me that's what it is on this one. I don't know about Lafroig, but right here, right now.
I'm not saying it's Lafroig, but Lafroig does that too.
It's a pretty good sales job, I got to tell you. I talk to sales guys all day.
I'm telling you, man.
Not bad.
I am getting that beautiful note.
Yeah, and again, here at the end, a little bit of golden wheat to go along with that citrus. A little bit of honey, too. Kind of just off here in the distance. Tailing off honey. It is a sweet whiskey. It is sweet on the nose, this whiskey.
It is. It's very sweet. And yet, I get that little gasoline note. I get the peat. It's got a lot going on. It's one of those whiskeys where if I dig in really deep, I get sweet. If I kind of do a surface nosing, it's very dirty.
I agree with that, Dustin. No, I agree with that. A lot going on here. A couple different faces this whiskey can show.
Another sign of, again, higher ABV. My guess, and I'll tell you what, some complexity here. That's excellent.
A nice vanilla is coming out now.
Even a touch of pineapple coming through now.
Like a citrus ginger cake. Some type of coffee cake, but more lemon drizzle with no brown sugar. Yeah, sharp, young, interesting. Thank goodness it's from the distillery we like.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, youth is not something that's really tripping me up here at all.
Well, I'm equating the youth and the citrus note pretty heavily together because it is sharp.
I'll tell you what, if your whiskey's youth is this citrus note, you got potential, man. This is nice.
That's why they didn't bother. They didn't bother to bottle it at 9 years old.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that they only went did the 4 years in bourbon. That's kind of where I'm like, really? You didn't go a little longer with the bourbon to get some age, and then
Soften it up a little bit.
yeah, just interesting decision by Springbank there.
I think that really shows kind of in the more of the malty character that still kind of shines through. I mean, you said like a golden wheat, or maybe I said golden wheat, but yeah, husk hay. There's a little bit of that too.
Because I just think, Michael, what if it wasn't ready after they put it in the Barolo, and they're like, man, we can't put any more time in the Barolo. It's just taking on too much wine notes. Like, what do you do? Put it back in bourbon? Like,
no. But I doubt that's what happened. Or, I mean, it could have been. You could have been in the Barolo for 3 size years and just topped it off in bourbon.
Well, no, my point is it's a bold decision to only put it in the bourbon for 4 years.
I agree.
That's where I'm like, oh, they knew what they were doing.
I agree.
This wasn't their first time with these casks. They gambled.
Just want to soften the peach up. I imagine they have plenty of idea of what bourbon cask spirit does at 4 years. You know what I mean? Still coming off sweet, Dustin. Still a sweet little treat for me here.
Ooh.
Sweet young treat.
That was not what I was expecting on the palate.
Give it to me.
It's aggressive. It's definitely cask strength. It's a little sour. It's citrus sour. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to go in for a second taste on that, but my initial opinion, the Arrival was not very good. Then it transitions into more of like your classic oaky bourbon Springbank notes. It is fairly oaky, and it gave me a really nice bit of Springbank spice, a little bit of peat, buttered sugar cookies, a lot of butter actually. Finish is good, medium. It's not doing a lot, but it's definitely lingering. I'm going to go in for another taste on that initial Arrival. That was not what I expected.
Yeah, a lot of citrus and spice.
Caught me off guard.
A lot of citrus and spice, and the one thing I'll say is the finish kind of tails off pretty quickly. Kind of evaporates with the ABV as it goes along. Man, very prickly, very, very spice and citrus forward for me on the palate initially. A little bit of lemon vanilla settling here at the end.
Yeah, there's a funkiness to this one I'm not digging at all.
Lemon and vanilla.
Finish is lemon and vanilla, but up front, man, it's too sour. It's a weird spice, and then there's like this mid-palate thing where it gets very just funky. Water, hopefully it does some magic here for me.
Yeah, it definitely came off younger on the palate as compared to the nose. The nose, you could tell me 12, 14-year-old whiskey.
Agree. Yeah, I was holding off on officially stating I think it's younger on the palate, but that's definitely where I'm going.
All right, this softened up the sharpness quite a bit.
Ooh, brought out a lot of sweetness though.
And now it's a sweet candied lemon or a lime. Probably a lime.
I'm more in the lime category now than I was neat.
Nice wisp of smoke, a little bit of a nice little oak smoke note.
Yeah, it's like a puff of oak smoke for sure.
Just a wisp, but it's nice.
Oddly enough, that's something I have noticed on younger whiskeys over older whiskeys. It's like they carry the oak in. It's like this aromatic topper, whereas as they get older, it starts soaking in and becomes more of like a part of the whiskey.
Yeah, it's very insubstantial here, but still present.
That was not something they were going for on this whiskey. That just happened to be there, and they were fine with it, which I get. It's not a bad note.
Oh, I mean, I always like, whether it's oak smoke or peat smoke or, whatever it is, a little bit of smoldering ember in my whiskey is always something that's welcome.
Yeah, I like that, but I like it when it integrates better. This just seems out of place.
They haven't meshed together all the parts here.
No, that's where age really solves problems.
Hey, going back to your concern about the 4 years in bourbon.
Yeah, it really should have been 6 years in bourbon would have really made a difference. Get this to 11 years. Yeah, I'm not loving it.
It becomes more candied and honeyed with a little bit of water.
Yeah, the Arrival was not unpleasant.
Correct. Yeah, you took off the stinginess of the spice and the citrus notes on it. Maybe just kind of rich, vibrant, bright kind of palate on it.
Yeah, but the finish now doesn't give me the good sugar cookie and Springbank notes.
The finish was always a little bit short and sweet on this one.
Yeah, but there was some nice notes in there that are gone now, and I'm kind of missing those all instantly. I'm like, huh. Well, that's a shame.
It is, Dustin.
That was my favorite part of the whiskey. Unfortunately, it improved the part I disliked, but it took away the part that I was actually kind of enjoying.
All right, Dustin, let's get to whiskey score time. Your bottle. I'll go first.
Go for it.
Things I found that were fun here. I mean, it wasn't an excellent whiskey by any stretch of the imagination, but it handled water all right. It's cask strength whiskey. I can tell that pretty solid maturation on it. I'm 86 out of 100.
Yeah, I was between two numbers, and I'm going with actually the middle number because I actually was debating.
3 numbers.
Well, no, actually, I was debating 2 numbers. They were 2 points apart. But so I'm going to go with an 84 here. So I was between 80. Initially, I thought 85, and then I went, I think it's an 83, and I'm going to split the difference. 84 out of 100. It's good, but
we know Springbank can do better.
It's too young. It's not showcasing Springbank's malt. I really enjoy the nose, so the Barolo really worked there. And I don't know how long this has been open. Maybe it's more of a neck pour. I don't know, but it's just
good young cask strength whiskey, Dustin. Trying to jazz up a little bit of the cask. How well do you like the Springbank spirit? That's the question you got to ask yourself.
30 years.
There we go.
Nah, I mean 12 years really works well for Springbank. The 10 I think is okay, but 12 years is really where Springbank starts to hit its stride. 21 is where Springbank really starts strutting.
You know me, Dustin. Springbank caught me with the older whiskeys. I really thought, I said at one point, Springbank really needs age to impress me. 25 years, preferably. But, I've come around on that. Not quite this young, but there's still time for me.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, again, I don't hate this. Again, it's still in the 80s. It's definitely a whiskey
I'll take a pour.
Yeah, you pour this. I'm excited to try it.
For sure.
And this has got to be one of the most unique, different. Again, I've seen the similar casks on Hazelburn. I think Springbank, the dirtiness with Springbank kind of
got brightened up.
Well, I think the thing is, I think dirty Springbank and this kind of wine cask has a little bit of dirtiness to it. I don't know if the two dirty items need to go together. I think that's why the Hazelburn was the big mass release, and this one kind of forgotten.
Dustin, as always, we are committed to exploring Springbank in every cask incarnation that they can throw out there.
Absolutely.
So we always want to try as many Springbanks as possible, regardless of hits and misses. Obviously, we want some hits, but
man, it's smelling amazing right now. Gosh, I wish it tasted like it smells.
I know. I agree. It's better on the nose. Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this one, I'd like to know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy, try everything, drinking.
See you next time.